Hello, I'm Judy, and this is my third part where I've been trying to simplify and make you understand the foundation of the United States government. I'm going to quickly review what I've already gone over, and some people say there's three branches in the United States, and I think there's four. For the founding fathers put in the Constitution by the people for the people. So the fourth branch is the people. So we've already reviewed there's four branches of government, and the executive branch is the White House, which is the president, his cabinet, and there's committees and organizations that represent Native Americans or the gun laws or just a lot of like 100 different committees that he has in the White House. But the cabinet of the Secretary of State, Secretary of Education, Secretary of Housing, Secretary of the EPA, those people make very profound decisions that affect every one and each of us. And those people, they don't need to be okayed. Once they make a law or something, once they pass a bill or something, it goes into law. And the president, he can sign executive orders. The only thing the president cannot do is that he cannot do a war. Only Congress can declare war. So he's not a king. He can't go around and use our troops or our military weapons or our military intel to help other countries unless he has constitutional and authorization from the Congress, and only Congress can do that. All 535 members, it has to be a majority vote to declare a war. So that is the executive branch. The Congress, which is 535 people. The upper house is the Senate House. It's a 6-year term, and they're elected through their constituents in their state. And there is a senior senator and a junior senator. You get 2 senators for each state. The senators have special executive powers, which they can confirm all of the judges and the cabinet positions and official administration people that Trump, the president, appoints, and they confirm whether they're going to be in that position or not. So let's say that's only the Senate can confirm positions of official administration, judges. So they have that special power, the Senate, and the Senate also is the if we have an impeachment, it comes from the House. Only the House can start an impeachment. And just because you're impeached doesn't mean that you're removed from office. It has to go to a trial, an impeachment trial in the Senate, and the Senate votes on whether or not to remove the president from the office. We did have 2 people impeached, Andrew Jackson and Bill Clinton. They were impeached, but they were not removed from their office. Nixon resigned before he was impeached, so he left the office. So there's been no president that's been removed from the office in American history. The Senate also, the main thing for Congress is they're called legislators. They pass laws. That's the main thing that Congress does, is they pass laws. Anybody in Congress can make a bill or start a law. So what they do is they start a law or a bill, and that bill goes to a committee. And the committee of that, like if they do like a gun law, then it goes to the gun committee. And that committee, they're specialized, and they have experts that are in that committee that will do revisions or changes or anything to that, and then they'll send it back, and it has to be approved in both houses. So if you have a bill, it goes to the committee, it gets revised, it's sent back, and it's voted on in the House, and then it's voted on in the Senate, then it's sent on to the president. He has 7 days to either sign it into law, ignore it, or veto it. So that's how a law gets passed. Anybody, even I can write a law and then try to ask my senator to write this law in. Actually, I do have a law that I do want to pass, and my law is a resolution to say that you cannot touch anti-poverty programs like Social Security, Medicare, Medi-Cal, and food stamps, because those are fundamental to poor people that need that. We can't cut those programs. In fact, we need to expand those programs, because there's 49 million people who live in poverty, 55 million seniors who rely on Social Security and Medi-Cal, and they don't get that much. They get like $1,000. My mom gets $1,200 a month on Social Security. That's poverty. If you're getting Social Security and that's all you're getting, then you lived in poverty. You cannot live on Social Security when you retire. You have to save retirement money. You have to save an extra couple $100,000 for your retirement, or you're going to be poor during your retirement years. The highest you can get right now is $2,700 on Social Security, and that depends on how many credits or points you made during your working years, and that's how they calculate how much you get in Social Security. So someone rich would get like the highest, like $2,700, or most people get $1,200. So you do not rely on Social Security as a retirement fund that will help you. You need to have another retirement account to back up the Social Security. A lot of seniors are working. Like my mother gets Social Security, but she still has to work. It's not enough. Most seniors still have to work and collect their Social Security. So please save for your retirement. Okay, so Congress, the upper house, is the senators, and we have 2 senators for each state, which means we have 100 senators in the upper house. Chuck Schumer is the majority leader, and the party leader is Tom Perez, and Nancy Pelosi is the House leader. In the House of Representatives, they are in their position for 2 years. They're voted by people in their state, and the House of Representatives has special powers too. Only the House can pass revenues or raise taxes. Only the House. Have you heard the phrase taxation without representation? Well, only the House has what they call the power of the purse to make laws passing taxes or revenues. Is only in the House, and only the House can do the impeachment, and only the House, because of their 435 people, they have the Speaker of the House, which is Paul Ryan. So he has a hard job, but he's a very important person. He's the most powerful legislator in the Congress, the legislator, because he picks when someone in the House of Representative wants to make a bill, they put it in a hopper, which is a metal box in front of the House of Speaker. He picks the bills to be voted on. He picks the ones that goes to the committee. So his position is very important. And right now it's Republican ruled, because the White House is a Republican ruled majority and Congress is majority ruled. Especially with Paul Ryan working so closely with Trump. Paul Ryan is ideologically aligned with Trump's views and agenda. So that really works against the Democrats when the Democrats want to pass laws, or don't want to pass laws that the Republicans have. Like the big thing right now is the Republicans gave a massive tax cut, and to do that they had to take it from somewhere, and that somewhere would be from Social Security, Medicare, Medi-Cal, food stamps, and we had to go into a 1.5 trillion deficit to give these top 1% people their massive tax cuts. You're talking about these people get billions of dollars of tax cuts, so they don't mind giving $10 million to a politician so they get their tax cuts. So right now, that's the big thing right now, is they're still trying to put that GOP tax bill together, and the Democrats are fighting to do not cut anti-poverty programs. That's the main thing that we're fighting right now. And so the House of Representatives has, it goes by population. You get as many per population representative. So like a small state like Vermont has 1. A big state like mine, the most populous, has 53 representatives. So a large state, you can tell, has more representation. But right now there's more Republicans in the House, so if they just voted Republican, they could pass anything they wanted. I think there's 260 Republicans and 180 Democrats. Yeah, that's how the House of Representatives can do that. And they have to be careful, and the House of Representatives represents the people. They have to be very aligned with what their people want and represent them, because every 2 years they get reelected. So if they want to get reelected, they better do what their constituents want. That's an important thing they have to do. They represent the people. The Congress is the founding fathers said Congress was the most important legislator. It was so important that they put Congress before the preamble in the Constitution. Article 1, Petition 1, all laws will be passed through Congress, and that's before the preamble. So Congress is the most important branch according to our founding fathers. So that was Congress. So I said I was going to talk on my next talk about Republicans and Democrats. So a Republican, if I could say just one word to describe Republicans, and that would be conservative. Republicans are very conservative, and they're mostly religious, Judeo-Christian ideology, with mostly Catholics, Mormons, Evangelists, Lutheran, Baptists. Most of the religions are going to be Republican. That's why Republicans are very, they're into traditional values. And because they're Christian, these Christian or Muslim or Islam religious people, they don't believe in same-sex marriage. They don't believe in abortion. They don't believe in the LGBT. They don't believe in contraception. The Catholics don't believe in contraception. So a lot of the laws that Republicans pass is because of their very conservative Christian values, or Catholic or Mormon values, and most of them are Republicans are in the South. In the early 1850s, when the Republican and the Democratic Party just started out, it was actually switched. The Republicans were the progressive ones, and the Democrats were the pro-slavery. Democrats for a long time had a bad history. They were pro-slavery, and new states were coming up, and the Democrats wanted those states to be slavery. But then Lincoln came in, and Lincoln was a Republican, and the Republicans wanted anti-slavery, and that's how we get into the Civil War. So Democrats stayed that way, being anti-slavery and anti-government until about the 1930s with Roosevelt and the New Deal. That 1930s, and then in the 1960s with the Civil Rights Movement, the Democrats moved towards civil rights movement, and that really changed the Democratic Party, and that's how we have the Democratic Party now, a progressive party. But the Republicans in the beginning were anti-slavery, so they were the ones that fought against the slavery, and that's how we had the Civil War, and that's how we got a Republican president, Lincoln, that freed the slaves, the 13th Amendment. So because of their very, very conservative agenda, they support lower taxes, free market capitalism, they support free enterprise, strong national defense. They like to spend money on the military. They don't believe in deregulation, especially when we need to regulate banks, but Republicans don't believe in regulating at all. So that's, and Democrats are the opposite. They don't believe in unions. They want restrictions on unions. They uphold traditional values. They're mostly Judeo-Christian critics. The party's co-support was in the 1990s. That's when it got really strong with the Republicans, with Ronald Reagan coming in. And he's the one that started the war on drugs with Ronald Reagan. And most of them are Republicans are from the Great Plains, like mountain states, like rural areas in the north. And there's been 19 Republican presidents. The first one was Andrew Leofta. But there's they have a trifecta plus. They have trifecta means that the Republicans right now have control of the White House, Congress, and our Supreme Court. And they have 69 of 99 of the state legislation, and they have 33 governorships out of 50. They don't support anti-poverty programs at all. They believe that people should work hard and work their minimum wage job and make it on their own. They think that if they do the anti-poverty programs, that they're somehow making people lazy, which is not true at all. And they don't want to raise the minimum wage. Minimum wage is $7 in Las Vegas, and I believe it should be 15. But no, the Republicans are like, no, we don't need. They don't want to raise it because they think if you raise the minimum wage, then companies will leave the country and outsource the work. If we raise the minimum wage, I don't think that's true. And these companies can afford to pay the minimum wage of $15 an hour because these CEOs make like 100 to 300 million a year, so they can afford to give $15 an hour. These companies are not going to struggle if they had to pay $15 an hour. But Republicans don't want to raise the minimum wage, and they limit federal. And they want to limit the federal and make the state more in charge of itself. And they're kind of against environmental. Their climate. They don't believe in climate change regulations, and they don't believe in climate. And they're anti-abortion. They don't want to legalize marijuana. And they don't want to help foreign countries. They'd rather we spend the money on us instead of helping other foreign countries that might be in a famine or in a war. They don't believe in helping foreign aid. And they also don't believe in making citizens of illegal immigrants. They want them just to leave. They don't want any illegal immigrants coming in. And they don't believe in the embryonic stem cell research. They use that research for cancer mostly, and Republicans are against that because the embryonic, of course, is a fetus, but it's a aborted fetus or a dead fetus that they do the stem cell research to find out cancer and other diseases to do that. They don't really support public schools. They support school choice, meaning charter schools or Christian schools. So they believe in school choice and not really public schools. And they denounce the urban public school system. They don't like the urban public school system for some reason. Of course, they don't support any LGBT, and they're hostile to gay rights. They think gay rights is a sin because they're Christian and then conservative, and they strongly oppose same marriage, and they oppose, say, people in the military being gay or transgender. So when Trump said no transgenders in the military, all the Republicans supported him. So because the Republicans are so conservative and the religion rules the bills and the laws, that's why the Republicans will never change. They don't want abortion. They don't want marijuana. I mean, this is 2018. Things have changed, and life has changed. Society's changed. Our community's changed. We don't stay the same if we keep the same laws of no abortion, no legalizing marijuana, and they do believe in the death sentence with the death penalty, but they don't believe in abortion. So, 30% of people. 25% of people say they're Republican and 16% lean towards Republican. The establishment is anti-establishment, moderate Republicans, pro-business, and 50% of Republicans are self-employed or work in management. In Congress, most people have a BA, and then some people have masters, and there's, I think, 18 or 20 people that have no college at all. So you don't have to have a college degree to be in Congress. You don't have to. You don't have to be a college degree. You just have to get voted in. You just have to get people to like you, to vote for you, and you can get into Congress. And remember, anybody can write a bill. I can write a bill and send it in, and hope that that I can urge my senators to support that bill and get it passed in both houses. It has to pass in the Senate and in the House of Representatives, and go to the president and get signed off by the president. So the conservative. So when you think of Republicans, just think of conservative, religious people, and all the laws and bills that they want to pass is going to be according to their religious values. So their what do you call it? Their mascot is an elephant. Like in the 1860s, when they used to draw the pictures in the newspapers, one of the cartoonists drew an elephant representing Republicans. Also, the color red, in the last 30 years, red represents Republicans. And also, when you hear the word, when they say left and the right wing, well, the right wing is the Republicans, and the left wing is the Democrats. So right wing, when they say right wing agenda or right wing whatever, that is Republican. And the red, so if you hear for red state, then you know those are Republican senators, or a blue state, it's Democrat senators. So Republicans, that's really basically what Republicans are: conservative and religious, and the laws and bills passed will be based on their religious values and their beliefs. So that's why they usually don't make new laws, because they have to keep things the same, because the Bible doesn't change. It stays the same. They don't want anything to change. No abortion, no legalizing marijuana, and they want to heavily penalize people in jail, make jail sentences longer. I think if Trump said he wanted to kill the drug dealers, I don't think they should die for dealing drugs. If there's a demand, that's the problem. It's a demand. We have an opioid addiction, and that's a demand that has to be. We need to give them the Narcan, the antidote for that, so they have it available, so they can put it in themselves, so they don't overdose. So that's the Republican Party. The Democratic Party. So the main thing of the Democratic Party, you would say they were progressive. That would be one word that they are. And remember, early in the 1860s or whatever, the Democrats were pro-slavery. They wanted slavery in the states, so they had a really bad history in the first 100 years because they were not progressive. They're not the Democratic Party that they are now with progressive values. They used to be like the Republicans, and then a lot of people from Republicans started going to the Democrats, and the Democrats started going to the Republicans. If you're religious, then you were going to go towards Republican, and that's mostly people in the South and the mountains. And in the North, it's more Democrats, like New York City, California, Las Vegas, Oregon. So the party chair is Tom Perez. The minority leader is Chuck Schumer. And they believe in social liberalism, social justice. They're centrist and they're progressive. Progressive just means that they're passing laws to move us forward, move people forward, and change our society so that we accommodate what's in our society now, and we move forward. Like, they believe in same-sex marriage because it's 2018, and we know that there's gay people. They support gay people because Democrats are not they're not that religious. They don't have a religious agenda, so they're much more open-minded and they're much more liberal. I'm a liberal. I'm very liberal. I would just say I'm very left-leaning, and so Democrats are, Democrats are mostly from the minority group because since the civil rights movement, all the African Americans and the Jewish people, Arabs, and Hispanic people went towards the Democratic side because we want to make citizens of immigrants. That's why Hispanics go Democratic. And there's been 15 Democratic presidents. They used to, right now, the Democrats are called the opposition party because they're the minority, because the Republicans control the House, the Congress, and Supreme Court. So Democrats are opposing Republicans. That's why they're called the opposition party, having the minority in the House and the Senate. And they have a trifecta. They have 8 states with mayors that are Democrats. And they're modern liberates. They advocate social programs and economic programs, equality along with infrastructure, and to provide, they believe in providing government intervention to help people. So Democrats really support Social Security, food stamps, Medicare, and Medi-Cal, because poor people use that. 55 million senior citizens use Medicare or Medi-Cal and get Social Security, and this is not making them rich. Social Security barely makes it. Remember what I said? You have to have another retirement fund, so you have to start saving for that, because a lot of senior citizens work and collect Social Security. So my mom works and collects Social Security. She only gets $1,200 a month. That's like poverty. So they believe in those and helping, Americans improve their life from the government, government solutions. And they believe in the social programs. They support labor unions. They want to have free college, which is excellent. We want to have free college. No more student debts. We're done with student debts. And I don't appreciate that the government gives banks 0.40% interest rate, and then the banks turn around and give it 4 or 5 interest rate to the students. They're profiting off of it. The students should get the same interest rate that the banks get. Students need to get 0.40, the same thing that the banks get from the government. So that's another resolution bill that I am going to make up and send in to my senator. I think that should pass. And of course, because they're progressive, they believe people should make their own choices. So they Democrats, support abortion up to the 3rd month only. After that, you're in the 2nd trimester. So, they support affordable housing. They support universal health care. They believe everyone has the right to health care. They believe in equal opportunity. They like consumer protection, and they like to have environmental protection, like using the EPA to protect our oceans, like no oil drilling, no fracking, no oil pipelines, nothing that might harm our environment or kill our animals. The Democrats are for that. They believe in the Endangered Species Act, banning the ivory trade, no animal trophies coming into the United States. That's what the Democrats believe. And the Democrats support a $15 an hour minimum wage, which I told you all employers can afford. If their CEO can make $200 million a year, okay, they can afford to make $15 an hour. And of course, Democrats believe strongly in climate change, and that we should not have left the Paris Agreement. So like California, my state right now, we are doing our own clean energy, and we are doing our own not using fossil fuels and try to go to electric cars. So each state is trying to do their own climate change, because Trump's an idiot and took us out of the Paris Agreement. Plus, Trump thinks that climate change is a hoax. And the problem with Trump is that he makes decisions in his paranoid, delusional brain instead of using facts and evidence. He doesn't use facts or evidence to make his decision. He should be asking experts what are the pros and cons of this. So, and the mascot for the Democrats is a donkey. They were making fun of Andrew Jackson and called him a jackass, but Andrew liked the donkey, and the donkey stayed a mascot for the Democrats. Democrats' color is blue, so if you hear blue state, that's a Democrat state, meaning there's Democratic senators. The DNC is the Democratic National Campaign. Um, they believe in usable health care, and they believe in diplomacy over war. Democrats don't like to go to war. We believe in negotiating, and also Democrats believe in stem cell research so we can cure cancer. And they believe in legalizing marijuana. They believe in strict gun laws. Republicans don't believe in strict gun laws because they don't want to be told what to do with their rifles or their assault weapons. The Republicans don't want that because they're like, don't take my rifle or my assault weapon away. But we believe you should not have. Democrats don't believe you should not have an assault weapon. If you're trying to save your life, it only takes a handgun with 1 or 2 bullets to shoot somebody. You don't need to shoot them up 100 times or 1,000 times with an assault rifle. That's just ridiculous. So, and the environmental and they believe in making immigration people that immigrate citizens, and they believe in cultural diversity, which is very strong in the Democratic Party. We have more women and black politicians now that are Democrats. And Democrats really oppose military spending. They think that's a waste. I think it's a waste too. We're not in a war. We're in Afghanistan. I don't know. We've been there 17 years. Why are we still in Afghanistan? I have no idea why. So when the military, Pentagon, or the Defense Secretary, General Mattis, wants $600 billion for some more weapons or new airplanes, and we're like, we need to cover our food stamp, and we need to cover our Social Security. We need to use that military money on something more use for the people. We're not in a war, so we don't need to spend that kind of money in a war. We're not supposed to be in a war. Congress has not declared any war anywhere. We are helping Saudi Arabia bomb Yemen, which we should not be, because Senator Sanders has a resolution saying that Americans need to come away from the Saudi Arabia. They do not have, Trump has our military intel and helping them refuel in the air their airplanes, and they did not have a Congress authorize this war, and Congress does not, and then Congress did, and it's an unconstitutional war, an unauthorized war. Congress did not declare war, so Trump has to get American people, our troops, and our weapons out of Saudi Arabia, and we need to help the Yemen people that we helped bomb. They're facing 17 million Yemen people are facing a famine, and Saudi Arabia did a thing of blocking all the entrances, like they bombed the port and they bombed the bridges, so the humanitarian aid can't get in. So, and that's the problem, but they have a lot of humanitarian aid ships just sitting on the coast of Yemen, and they can't bring it in because there's no equipment to take those trailer things off the ship. So America, President Trump needs to get us out of Saudi Arabia like now, like yesterday. Now, get out now. We don't belong in there. We don't have congressional permission to be there in the first place. And then Democrats believe in workers' rights. They believe in strong regulation of regulating banks. We need to regulate banks because of what happened in 2008. The banks, we had to give them almost $1 trillion because they did risky behavior and they crashed our economy. So we do not trust the banks, especially Wall Street, to do their own job. We need an oversight committee to regulate and watch the banks and what they're doing before they cause another economy crash. So that's why they believe in regulating banks and corporations, because first of all, they don't pay federal tax because they hide their money in the Cayman Islands, and then the taxes they do pay is only 15%, and we want to raise it. It should be about 30%, like what we all pay, regular people. So rich people, top 1%, do not pay their fair share. They only pay 15%. They don't pay federal taxes. And then and then they don't pay a higher wage to their employees. So yeah, these companies, and especially rich people like the Koch brothers and the Walmart families, the richest family, um, they don't want to help their employees, but what can you do with $200 billion? How about help your own employees? Walmart has employees that work, but they still get welfare, or they still get food stamps or Medicare or Medi-Cal. They don't have insurance, health insurance at Walmart for their employees, and that's just disgusting. Greedy Walmart family that did that. They have $200 billion and they can't give $100 million to give insurance to their own employees. The most Walmart has the most employees on government help than any other employee. Walmart sucks. I mean, it's a job at least, but they should pay $15 an hour. And they started going automated. You can go in and check yourself out. They strongly, and the Democrats really want to overturn Citizens United, which the Supreme Court in 2010 said that corporations are people and can give unlimited amounts of money. A corporation is not a person. A corporation has a CEO, a board, and 50,000 employees. That's not one person. That's a corporation. That is so wrong. And we're trying right now, and the Democrats and most of Americans believe that it needs to be overturned. That's just the worst decision. And that is because in the Supreme Court, it's Republican led. There's 5 Republicans and 4 Democrats, and that's the reason why that passed. So that's what the Democrats are. They're progressive and they're liberal. They want to move society forward from society has changed. It's 2018. We know there's gay people. We know that there's LGBT people. We know there's immigrants. So they support those people, and they strongly support helping other people. So, and there is one independent, Bernie Sanders, and the only thing about independent is you have to understand, independent party is a party. So if you put independent, you won't be able to vote in the primary. Don't think that independent means that you are non-party. You have to put non-party. I did the mistake, and I pushed independent, and I couldn't vote in the primary. If you put independent, you're not non-party. You're in the independent party. So be careful with that when you go to mark off your voter registration. Okay, so that's a big difference between the Republicans and the Democrat. I am an independent, but I lean towards the Democrat. The Democrats the most. Right now, the Democrats, Bernie Sanders is trying to pass 2 things that's very important to him. One is a resolution to get out of Saudi Arabia, America out of Saudi Arabia, and to help Yemen with their famine. And 2, his Medicare for All bill. And 3, his free college bill, which is still in the works. It's in the committees. Remember, it has to go to a committee first and get revised before it moves to the House and the Senate and goes to the president. So Bernie Sanders, those are the 3 main things that's happening in Congress right now. And also the GOP tax bill is being, debated and negotiated right now, because they had to give the massive cuts to the stupid, greedy, rich people and put us in $1.5 trillion deficit to give them that massive tax cut. So, and now Paul Ryan is Speaker of the House. Remember, he's Republican and very agenda aligned with Trump. He wants to cut Social Security, food stamps, Medicare and Medi-Cal, and that's not fair for us to pay for the massive tax cuts for the rich people. So this is the 3rd part of my series. The next part, I'm going to talk about the Supreme Court and why it's important. And then after that, I'm going to talk about the people. For the people, by the people is a government, because we vote those people in. We can vote them out, and we can sign petitions, and we can assemble. People, us, we have a lot of power to use against politicians, to advocate or to strongly oppose any bill or law or any politician that's being corrupt. We have that right to do that. Okay, so that's it. The Republicans, one word conservative, Democrats one word progressive. So that's all you need to remember of the Democrats and Republicans. And if you don't choose a party, you would if you're very religious, then you probably want to go to the Republican Party. But if you're very liberal and progressive and you believe in progressing our society because we accept gay people, same-sex marriage, the LGBT, the transgender, we accept immigrants, we believe in a diverse cultures, and we believe in affirmative action, which Republicans don't believe in affirmative action. So yeah, you would go to the Democratic side if you like progressive values, if you want universal health care, if you want $15 an hour, if you want free college, and if you want climate change, then you want to go on the Democratic side. And the independent person, I'm in the independent, but when I vote, I put Democratic because I won't be able to vote if I put the independent party. Remember, independent does not mean non-party. Independent means it's an independent party. So don't think you're in a non-party. Okay, so my next video will be about the United States Supreme Court. Okay, have a nice day. Take care and be kind to each other.